Hello, welcome to the 9th day of November 2025. 5. My name is Kurt, and this is my daily Good Life meditation, a daily live video exercise that I do to remember my life objectives and principles, those who are outlined in my book, Going Alone. I also use the time to think about the last 24 hours and how I did with any noteworthy challenges or opportunities that I met. I go over my creed and I prepare for the coming day. But let me first begin by saying hello to new subscribers. Welcome to the channel. I'm Kurt. I'm a 61-year-old retired American living in the countryside of Japan with my Japanese wife. We have together a grown daughter, almost 25, and we are basically endeavoring to live the best life that we can at this point. Now that we're past the main years of hard work and the challenges of raising a child. This video is a personal diary that I do publicly. As such, I have liberty to talk about any subject I want for as long as I want or as short as I want, but I do need to cover my creed, and what I typically like to do is go over the last 24 hours to describe whatever was noteworthy, where I was able to exercise my values, either successfully or especially where I either failed or succeeded, because those two ends of the spectrum are where I can learn. The stuff in the middle is not so important. I do talk about sensitive subjects like death, so be forewarned. And finally, a huge thank you to my YouTube members and my Patreon supporters and those who watch my videos. I really appreciate it. It looks like the rain just started coming down. It's going to be a full day of rain. It just began. Oh, let me turn that off. Okay, so first off, looking at my notes for the last 24 hours, I have only one interesting note here that says, I'll just read it exactly what it says, more pocket change worry, and then in parentheses it says, persistent. I introduced that term, pocket change worry, yesterday, and then Tim, who sometimes joins me here from the UK, he added the idea of a bank vault worry. I think that was a good juxtaposition between pocket change worry and bank vault worry, where Tim and I both understand, Tim's also retired, the deep, abiding, and I almost want to say life-threatening worry and stress that can attend a career and the active years of adulthood, compared to the pocket change worry, which is the kind of a persistent nagging type of a thing that doesn't bring on the panic attacks like the other type does or can. Anyway, more of that yesterday, and I talked about that yesterday as happening the day prior, where I have a couple of irons in the fire that I'm dealing with. My life isn't all peace in retirement. I do have this situation going on in the United States. Plus, I do have a project that I'm working on that I call it's an awful name for a project. I call it Project 2026, which sounds a lot like a political term, but it's not. It's just my project to get to summertime 2026, where Yumiko, my wife, and I will be in a more fluid and basically settled. This time, by summer 2026, Yumiko and I will settle into our final footing for retirement, our final financial footing, which will be a very good footing, but we need to get there. And I kind of blew my planning a little bit, and I have a plan to get me to over that hurdle. As a result of these two things, this situation in America and my Project 2026, I have this pocket change worry that is persistent. It pops up in my mind during the day, and it shows up at night. And I do have my Stoic tool chest of tools that I can use to, one, acknowledge and address. And I talk to these worries like a small child, identifying that they're there, acknowledging that they're there, and explaining to them the processes and protocols and actions that I have in place, and contingencies even, to address these. the most adult thing that I know how to do. And they do go away. They're obedient children, and they do go away for a while, but they come back. So I find myself in a position for the last 24 hours dealing with those, which is annoying, but I don't think there's any other way. The only way I could, there's no way to make them go away. Like a part of the reason that they're there is because I care, and I see that as my active responsibility in my relationship with my wife. I'm the one that manages the money and make sure that we're good. I'm also the one that's addressing the American project because it involves my people. Of course, being married, there are people, but you know what I mean. She has her people, her, and I have my people, and I'm attending to that. So there it is. I expect more pocket change worry today. But at least I have a way to deal with it, and it seems to be effective, and it's the best I know. Which is just to manage the worry, to not ignore it, but to recognize it and to manage it, and to remind the worrisome self of the plan whenever worry appears. Okay, so that's that for that. As opposed to the, without danger of going too deep into that, but as opposed to the bank vault worry, which is a whole other species, which fortunately I don't have any of that in my life right now. I don't think I will either. But part of me also, and I will add a little bit, part of me is also leaning into this pocket change worry as an exercise in stoicism to, here's Ollie. Come on in, Ollie. Addressing pocket change worry is a very worthwhile exercise in it's like practice. It's like doing reps at the gym, right? Okay, I'm gonna do a set of 20-pound barbells, right, or whatever they are. It makes us strong, and it reminds me always of the tools that I have. So having the worry show up in rapid succession day after day is just, I just get to exercise and practice the toolkit. All right, that's that for that. My creed consists of 8 objectives. I'm going to read objective number 2 as the candles begin to dim out, and which is the objective number 2 is to make good and effective use of time. Number 1 is to be always ready to die, having my affairs, my relationships, and my life's work in order. And Tatsuya and Emily are here right now. Tatsuya is our daughter's boyfriend, fine young man. And we spent a good portion of the day yesterday, and we were downtown shopping, and while Emily and Yumiko were doing their thing, Tatsuya and I snuck away to a rooftop cafe where we had delicious Ethiopian coffee and talked over philosophy. He's a man, I struck the jackpot, guys. I mean, Emily picked a young guy who's a philosopher, and he's not only that, but he came yesterday, armed with topics to discuss, and his English is really good. So and I throw in as best I can with my Japanese, and we get by just fine. We get along really well. He's a good young man, good heart, good energy, and a good frame of mind. And what's more, he's weathered some challenges, some significant challenges, and weathered them well, which is a sure test of character. All right, so that was number 1, is to be always ready to die, to have my affairs, my relationships, and my life's work in order. Number 2 is to make good and effective use of my time. And I'll go ahead and read as the light dims down to nothing here. To make good use of these few moments right now, and to dwell very little on past utilization other than to use such memory to inform my judgment in the direction of improved forward progress, to also make good use of whatever resources are at my disposal, not just for increase, but to spend, share, give, or apply these resources well and in ways which are in accord with my life objectives and principles. And an especially good use of time are self-sustaining interests, namely occupations of mind and time, which are ends in themselves. Listening to the sound of rain is an example, as is reading a good poem. Walking the dog is another. So too, tucking myself into bed. Activities which are more difficult to remember tomorrow, yet which are very easy to live today. Below are examples of some of the things I would like to be caught doing when death comes at last to utterly snuff out my light. And here's a bulleted list. Breathing slow and measured breaths, controlling my emotions, thinking and acting deliberately, remembering and acting upon my responsibilities, eating well and very little, helping others, being attentive to my family, providing good value to my employer, learning something startlingly new, reading an excellent book, memorizing poetry which moves me, listening to a good lecture, discussion, or debate, challenging what I believe, changing my mind for good reason, admitting that I was wrong, apologizing when necessary, becoming uncomfortable, withstanding discomfort, suffering well and longer than I thought I could, standing, walking, swimming, or simply moving, making a pet happy, that one's for Evelyn, picking up litter, accurately recounting the idea of another, sleeping deeply, discovering I am wrong, remembering death, and the best use of time of all, also possibly the hardest, just being present and aware. Thank you, Jim Jam Books, for letting me use your book to read that. Number 3 is to develop and maintain good and sound life principles. Number 4 is to cultivate good emotional reactions. 5 is to perform good actions relative to my values. 6 is to recognize my true limits and true opportunities. 7 is to do just one thing at a time and do that thing slowly and deliberately and carefully. And number 8 is to maintain my balance. And I just saw a comment from Jim Jam Birds, and just as I was thanking you for letting me use your book, I was going to send you a message, but now I can tell it to you. I haven't forgot about your book. just slow going. I hope to have some time to work on it today. I hope all is well, Jim Jam Birds. Thank you. I'm using your book every day to read from during my meditation. And don't worry, I will send it back to you. I've got my copy sitting over there. It's just that I keep your copy here on the desk so I can spend time illustrating it. Oh, there goes one of the candles. All right, as for today, Emily and Tatsuya are here for another day. So it's going to be a rainy day. We haven't quite scoped out what we're going to do, although I went to bed quite early last night. Maybe the family came up with some ideas after I went to sleep. We'll see. Let's read comments. Hi, Tim. Good morning to you. Weather check for the UK at 8:33 p.m. is 6.7 degrees Celsius and 95% humidity. Good sunny walking day. Very nice. Over here, Tim, it seems to be outside about 12 or 13 degrees, and it looks like it's about 80% humidity. Inside, it's about 20. How Hello, PF. Softy P. Damn right. Control what you can control. Classic Stoic approach. Wishing you a great day. Thank you so much. And thank you for the Stoic hell yeah. there's Evelyn. Hi, Evelyn. Evelyn says hi to myself, Tim, and PF. Noting 7 degrees C, cold. 93% humidity at 9:39 p.m. in Bologna, Italy. Bologna, Italy. Wonderful. Tim says, a saying about worry that used to play on the mind when I was working was, a day of worry is more exhausting than a week of work. Used to find that pretty true. Ooh, that's a powerful idea. Elvina, hello, Elvina. Good to see you. It's been a bit. Good morning, Kurt. Good afternoon and good evening, everyone. 6 degrees C. Hey, that's almost the temperature. That's just a little colder than Evelyn. And partly cloudy here in Mimico. We have between 5 and 10 centimeters of snow forecast here for tomorrow. Wow. PF says, hiya, Evelyn and Tim, from a gorgeous fall day in the Pacific Northwest. Beautiful. Tim says hi to Evelyn and Elvina. Elvina says hello to Tim, aka Penguin, Evelyn, and PF. Evelyn says hi to Elvina. And there's Jim Jam Bird saying, hi, Kurt and everyone. How are we all doing? 11 degrees C and sunny here in Vancouver today. Beautiful. Elvina says, I loved when you used my book on the beach for the Good Life meditation. Yes, and thus the sand, right? Jim Jam Bird says, all is well here. I've been traveling a lot over the last week, but have been keeping up with the lives. Oh, really? Great. No rush on the book. Love that you're spending so much time on it. It's been a fun project. My daughter's boyfriend, Tatsuya, has a copy, and he comes in. Like yesterday when we were having coffee, he had some questions from the book, and I need to tell him that show him yours, Jim Jam books, and say, hey, if you want me to illustrate yours, Tatsuya, I can do that too. I'm happy to illustrate anybody's book, but bear in mind it takes me a long time. Elvina says, it was cold here this morning, but I managed to mow the lawn, maybe for the last time this year, and I should have worn mittens. Well, that's an interesting picture in mind, mowing the lawn with mittens. All right, everybody. Well, I think that's that for today. Short one today. I'm going to switch now and attempt to read a little more Moby Dick this morning as the rain begins to pitter-patter outside the door here. And I've got both dogs in the room. Sorry if the audio is a little bit different. I forgot to put on the mic, but hopefully this is better. We'll see. I have to crouch close with my little candlelight. Wishing you all the best, everybody. Be safe, but not too safe. Take care.